Hello, everyone. It's the holidays, and consequently, it's a very busy time of year for you and your family, me and my family, my brothers and their families. And although it is recorded, I was unable to edit and piece together the ultimate showdown you've all been waiting for within the 2 week time frame. So I apologize for that. Um, I don't want to leave you hanging though, so here is last year's episode, the last ultimate showdown we did. That includes BB-8, Unicron, Magikarp, the Kool-Aid Man, Captain America, and the Punisher. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope it ties you over until I'm able to put together the ultimate showdown with the new characters. All right, stay tuned, enjoy this episode, and we'll be with you real soon. Welcome back to the Brothers Born podcast. The three of us are together again, and we're really excited. We're going to finish up our Unlikely Throwdowns mashup series today with a ring match, a battle royale of 6 different characters. My 2 characters, I think, reasonably could work together. In fact, they have worked together in certain Marvel comics. I have the Punisher and Captain America.
My characters are unlikely to have worked together in the count that I have the Kool-Aid Man and BB-8 from
Excellent.
Star Wars. So they're both roundish. I guess there's that going.
They're both fun characters for sure.
My characters, I don't think anyone in the history of anyone would put them together because I have what people think is the most useless Pokemon ever, Magikarp, paired up with the planet eater himself, Unicron, from the Transformers galaxy.
So let's talk about proportions here for a second. So, like, the proportion of Unicron to Magikarp, is that equivalent to, like, us and, like, a blood cell? Like, what is, like, the size difference there?
See, to me, I don't even know if Unicron would realize that Magikarp exists. Because in my learnings, I've discovered that Unicron has a size anywhere between, depending what generation or whatever universe you go to, he's usually considered to be about 1,000 kilometers diameter. But in the comics, I guess he's up to 120,000 kilometers diameter, which is the size of Saturn. And then I know just from the basic clips I've seen of the cartoon that you can hold a Magikarp in your hand. So yeah, I would say that's a good estimate what you said, Steven.
Even the small version of Unicron would Magikarp when you wouldn't even notice him.
What I want to know is if they're all supposed to be fighting in a ring, what kind of ring are we using? Where Unicron?
It's the ring of the cosmos. I don't know.
The rings of Saturn.
Yes.
Let's see. I think that each of us should maybe give a little background on our characters, and then we'll just go from there and see how this wild fantasy battle is gonna play out. So, Kevin, introduce your characters first. Go.
All right. Well, so let's start with Kool-Aid Man. Oh yeah. So Kool-Aid Man was first appeared in July 10th, 1954, but wasn't official until July 26th, 1974. And he basically is able to give people Kool-Aid whenever they want.
That's
pretty much it. That's all he's got.
We're done.
That's all he's got. The kids are like, "Hey, we're thirsty," and then Kool-Aid Man busts through the wall or the fence or whatever area is, whatever barrier is between them and him, and he says, "Oh yeah!" And
so
he brings Kool-Aid.
Quick question.
Then he gives himself to them.
What a kind guy.
That's true. Well, he doesn't actually pour the Kool-Aid from him inside the cup. He already has like Kool-Aid for them.
But he could self-generate Kool-Aid like it's nobody just out of nowhere, man.
That's true. And I think the important thing is it seems that any barrier between him and people desiring Kool-Aid is no obstacle.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Kool-Aid.
So any barrier at all, anything he could cut, he could bust through anything.
That's what I'm thinking. There's not really a whole lot of information on Kool-Aid Man.
I like that idea.
Apparently, there was a video game for the Atari like at one point, but
I thought he was in a comic book too.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was in a Marvel comic book, but I haven't been able to find any information on the stories or what his abilities were in either the video game or the comic book. So
his abilities.
If he could bust through literally anything, that actually makes him pretty powerful. I mean, he could just bust through Unicron back and forth, like.
And I'm thinking like he could probably, the liquid that's inside of him, he could deceive someone maybe and make it some kind of poison or something that would hurt some other, or if he's in battle or whatever. Or on the flip side, he could make it like some kind of healing elixir or something like that.
Well, you kind of have a point because like all those cults and stuff back in the day would like commit mass suicide by drinking the Kool-Aid, that they laced with whatever. So you might have something going there. But I don't think Kool-Aid Man would do that though, because
No, he's too nice.
That's not his style.
No, that's true.
All right, who's your other character?
So my other one is BB-8 from Star Wars. There's like a novel worth of information on this robot and all the battles and stuff that he's taking part in, but not a whole lot of information on. I'm using Wikipedia, by the way, but not a lot of information on what he actually does. Meaning, like all his list is his equipment, which is that it's all stored in swappable circular tool bay discs. He's got like an arc welder that might come in handy against Unicron. A welding torch, a hollow projector. Now he is an astromech droid, so that means he can like open, doors and hack into computers and stuff.
That'd be helpful for sure.
So that could be helpful. But BB-8's been through a lot, man. Like no joke. He's been in a lot of battles. He's had a couple. Well, only really one owner, which is Poe Dameron, but has a lot of friends.
But he's the biggest.
Soon he's going to be up there with R2D2 as far as his history eventually. R2D2 has been through the whole thing. But
yeah, that's true. He already kind of is, but he has more personality than R2D2 does. Actually, even Poe Dameron, his owner, kind of makes a comment about how he doesn't really seem to follow like a normal programming for a droid. And he
likes to roll. He does.
Well, he does like to roll, but he's actually able to be. Seems to be more sentient than a lot of the other droids are. Like he can kind of think for himself and come up with his own solutions to things.
All right. Well, since Steven has the most believable character combination, we'll let him go last. I'll go next if you gents are okay with that.
That's fine.
I'll start with Magikarp. Now, most people believe that Magikarp is the weakest Pokemon, the most useless of all time, which is kind of mean, man, that they all call him useless. I've done a little bit of research, i.e. YouTube videos on Magikarp. So, and there's a couple different ideas out there about him, but really, even though a lot of people think he's useless, in some lenses, he could be considered one of the most powerful Pokemon. Go to the ocean, pretty much wherever you go, Magikarp is there. Like they're all over the ocean. They rule the ocean, right? There's millions of them in there. And they work together. They can pretty much take over the whole ocean. They're prey, like everyone is their prey. Like they own the ocean. They're very determined. Magikarp comes from a Japanese legend where it's this koi fish. And he just keeps flopping around there's this big, huge waterfall. School of koi fish, a lot of them leave because they can't cross the waterfall, but a few of them stay. They're flopping around to get over this waterfall. And even some of the gods of the area, like they make the waterfall bigger and bigger and bigger. But eventually, the koi is able to get all the way on top of the waterfall. It takes them 100 years. But that one koi, finally, the one koi left gets up there after 100 years of flopping around, and he becomes this great dragon, this golden dragon, which is the same with the Magikarp, right? They just flop around. But eventually, if they're able to, I don't know which video game it was. You guys know better than me. But in the video game, he's able to, if he gets over the waterfall or if he's helped over the waterfall eventually, he'll turn into this, is it Gyarados, right?
Gyarados, yes.
Yeah, Gyarados is pretty mad.
And that's a very powerful Pokemon, Gyarados is.
Right. Determination, man. They work together in schools and they're able to get the job done. Like it took this koi 100 years to become a dragon. But if the Magikarp keeps working at it, I think I read somewhere where they can jump the height of a mountain if they work hard enough.
Interesting.
So, at least in my research, that's what I found out about Magikarp. Which
I learned more about Magikarp in the last 2 minutes than I think I ever knew before.
Yeah, I know. That's crazy.
Well, I thought it was cool that it came from that Japanese legend. At least this guy on YouTube said so. So that's my spiel on Magikarp. I think working together, he could be quite powerful. And a lot of people they overlook him. They don't think they think he's worthless, but really he's not. Now, Unicron, on the other hand, very powerful being. Most of my knowledge on Unicron comes from the movie, where I just always see them flying inside of his eyes and then opening up that matrix inside, and you see the smoke coming out of him. And then doesn't his head become like the moon of Cybertron or something?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the cartoon it does.
But so that's my main knowledge of Unicron. But I looked up a lot about him, and Unicron, he's able to take his thoughts and put them in his hate and put it into other Transformers to make them carry out his bidding. he's able to take a world and just eat it, like just destroy it.
Chomp.
A moon, he destroys a couple moons in the movie, right? Just they're gone. The moon of Cybertron. Puts his hand on it, destroys it. So he's this massive being, so much power, and he's powered by his hatred, which is pretty great because he just hates everything and he makes everyone do his bidding. Like I said earlier, his head at one point becomes a moon. Eventually, they kick it out of its orbit, I guess, in the comics or something. But his head ends up on this planet called the Planet of Junk, and even his head he's able to be so manipulative that his head itself can command the native people. They call them Junktonians, I think, but the native,
the Junkians,
yeah, on this
or
planet to build him a new body while his head's sitting there.
Is that like in the movie that the Weird Al
Building a new
Yankovic guys?
I can't remember who voiced the main.
They had a
Junkian
funny
one, but-
voice, yeah. And I think they like really
Oh, it
long
was Eric Idle. That's what it
mustaches,
was. Eric
funny
Idle.
mustaches
That's
as well.
But like he commands these robots to build him a new body. He's just a head. He commands them to build a new body. They do it. So just the fact that he has so much hate and he's able to control everyone with that hate, I think just makes him unbelievably powerful. The only weakness he has, of course, is the Matrix, but you got to get close enough to him, and Hot Rod had to get inside of him to use the Matrix and take care of him. These two, I think, are interesting. One is just, works together, overlooked, but can become really powerful with determination. The other one just super powerful, super hateful, imposes his will on everything. That's
Well,
me.
I have the Punisher and Captain America. I'm going to start with Captain America, and I actually want to play a little game with you two. How many different characters have been Captain America, do you think?
It's 3.
Okay, David, what are your thoughts?
I'm not as good up on it as you guys. I only know of 2, but I've heard maybe 3. Winter Soldier, I think, in the comic becomes him for a while.
See, I have a list of 11, actually.
Oh, okay. Sam Rogers, Bucky, and then Falcon, of
So-
course.
Yeah, the only ones I know are Sam Rogers, Falcon, and the Punisher was actually Captain America at one
that's
point.
I do want to. There's a couple that surprised me. It has Bucky Barnes. It has Sam Wilson. At one point in time, Scott Summers / Cyclops took on the mantle of Captain America, which I thought was interesting. Hawkeye almost did. He didn't, but he was getting ready to. And there's one other really interesting one. Luke Cage and Jessica Jones' daughter, Danielle Cage, also. So yeah, there's a lot of different Captain Americas out there. But the OG, Steve Rogers himself, he was actually invented. He first appeared in 1941 in
the first. I do know
Timely
this.
Comics.
I do know this. The very first issue of Captain America, the cover featured him punching Hitler in the face.
Nice.
And I'm looking at a cover of one of the old comic books, and he's like Koolaid Man. He's busting through a wall, but the wall just looks like a big newspaper, so it's not as impressive, but still cool. He's the captain. He unites the heroes in a unique way that no one else can. Captain America is a World War II veteran and very dedicated to his country. My other character, also a veteran, the Punisher. A Vietnam veteran, if you're going by the old original Punisher, but in recent stories, I think they've transitioned him into being like an Iraq-Afghanistan veteran. He first appeared in a Spider-Man comic book in 1974. He was a mercenary hired to assassinate Spider-Man, as I understand, and then he does not end up doing that. He ends up being the anti-hero that he is. He's relentless, man. Kevin knows a lot about the Punisher. But I know a little bit, and he's not really a superhero. He's just a human, a normal guy with a lot of guns and a lot of hatred as well.
So like Batman, but not as much money.
Yeah, basically, he's a lot like Batman. Dom. He's smart too. Like he can come up with a good battle plan. I'd love to see those two fight, like for real.
But the Punisher, long story short, in all the different versions, his family dies. Just because they happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Either it's between two like gangs shooting at each other or some other crossfire, and he's like, all snap. And from that point forward, he takes it upon himself to punish every bad person. And he doesn't just stop with like, the obvious ones like murderers and like super criminals, but he'll like, if there's a dude robbing a convenience store, he doesn't hold back. He's like, I'll get that guy too. He punishes because he's just really anti-evil. But sometimes that there's not a whole lot of forgiveness with the Punisher.
So
there
in a
isn't.
way, his anti-evilness becomes evil
Yeah,
himself.
in a
That's
sense.
kind of an ongoing theme throughout the comic books.
But there's what's interesting about the Punisher and Captain America is, from what I understand from what I read, Frank Castle, the Punisher, actually really respects Captain America like a whole heck of a lot. Like he like would follow that man anywhere. Is kind of what I've read, at least on the little Wikipedia pages and stuff. But in the Civil War story in the comic book, not the movie, um, someone compares Captain America to Frank Castle, and Steve Rogers is like, I will never be like him. I'm not like him at all. And he considers himself very different from the Punisher. But I think their skill set is very similar. The Punisher doesn't have the super soldier serum, but they both have soldier training, and they're both very tactical. And I think they would really make a dynamite duo. I think the worst thing, the hardest part about it is, I think Steve Rogers, he's a very much a forgiving person. I think he would try and find an alternate solution, whereas the Punisher's like, nope, let's just smoke him. And so I think that's where they might be at odds sometimes. But as far as their skill level, I think they're pretty equal, and they could do a lot of work together.
So to start this whole Royal Rumble off, let's just paint a picture here where we'll say Unicron's coming to the Earth. I mean, he's
Okay.
always wanted to destroy the Earth anyways, probably. So Unicron's coming to the Earth, and he's here ready to throw down some fools. And for some reason, his first step is to use his hate to control the Magikarp. So as I said earlier, there's millions of these Magikarp. So now I have Unicron right here outside the Earth's atmosphere, ready to grab his hand into the Earth. And then his Magikarp right now are flopping around everywhere, teaming up, jumping over mountains. We're ready to go. So what you guys got on this?
So the Punisher and Captain America are on some sort of reconnaissance mission of some sort, and they're actually on the ocean on a boat. And the Magikarp are going crazy. They're like, "What is going on here?" And then Steve Rogers looks to the sky and sees like a star or a planet thing. He's like, "I've heard of this before. I think it might be Unicron." Bam. All right, that's my introduction.
doing that,
I love how
like-
the Pokemon, Marvel, and Transformers are all in the same universe at this point.
already within a minute. And then like during that time, all of a sudden, Punisher feels a smack on his face. What the heck? And obviously it's Magikarp hitting him with the tail. Before you know it,
yeah, he sees the Magikarp, it hits him in the face, it lands in the water, and he doesn't even hold back. He takes his gun and shoots the water right away, trying to get the Magikarp.
so he'll take out like 5 or 6 of them. Like not all the Magikarp made it over that tall waterfall, but there's safety in numbers there. So good try, but I don't think it's going to work on the Magikarp. They're fueled by Unicron's hate at this point, so they're
instead
ready
of reconnaissance, can we switch it up so that Steve Rogers and Frank Castle are out fishing together?
Yes, I like that better. They're out fishing together. They're part of some veterans like recreational activity to help with their PTSD.
All right, so this is going on, and then suddenly out of hyperspace drops Poe Dameron in his X-Men or in his X-wing, but it runs out of fuel, so he can't really do a whole lot. And he sees this giant planet destroying moon known as Unicron. So he's like, "Oh snap! I gotta get my resistance buddies over here." I don't know why he's in our galaxy, where for some reason he is. Maybe he got lost. I don't know. So and then BB-8 ejects himself out of the X-wing, and BB-8's like, "Hey, let me check this out. I'm gonna do some reconnaissance."
Does BB-8 land on Unicron?
Oh, he's on his way to land on Unicron.
Oh no!
Yeah, that's
okay.
it. No. You know what? He does. How about this? Poe Dameron crashes on Unicron. So they're both on there together, but Poe Dameron's kind of get knocked out, and BB-8 knows the only thing that's going to help Poe to revive is that he gets some liquid in him. Therefore, BB-8 BB-8 calls upon the Koolaid man to bring Poe Dameron Kool-Aid.
Okay,
so that's how this all fits together.
Okay, so we got this massive battle going on with the Star Wars, the Pokemon, the Marvel Universe, all these guys together, and all of a sudden we got a big picture of Kool-Aid happening too.
So, all right. So is Kool-Aid Man there yet, or are we like still kind of waiting? Is he still like he has to be summoned? So I'm not sure if he comes instantly.
He's gonna have to be summoned, and BB-8 doesn't. He only speaks droid speak, so he's not. It's gonna take a while for Kool-Aid Man to get the transmission.
Okay, maybe I'm taking some creative liberties here, but this rolled me on this. So Captain America and the Punisher, they're like, "Oh, we got to address this Unicron situation." So they're going back to shore, and suddenly the water around them turns red. Not red like blood, but red like Kool-Aid. And they start to like gather and pool, and then they see this big pitcher just come out of the water full of red fluid, and he's just I don't know why, but he's floating up. And they're like, what? And Punisher's just so dumbfounded. He doesn't know what to do.
Say, oh yeah.
He comes up, and as he's coming up slowly, he's like, "Oh yeah!"
Yes, that's exactly what happens. And they're like they're just tripping now. They're like, what is going on? We got to go. Some crazy stuff is happening.
So this whole thing, like Unicron is just on top of this thing about to strike. Now, the one thing I think is negative about Unicron is he's so big. I feel like it takes him a little while to move because he's so many kilometers long. It takes him a while to get his arm onto the earth to like grab a fist out of there. So he's ready to take care of the earth. He's got his hand right over Steve Rogers and Punisher and all these Magikarp are everywhere doing his bidding. And then I don't know where the Kool-Aid Man comes. Obviously, the Magikarp are going to go in there, jump into the Kool-Aid Man's pitcher, mess around with it, man. They're going to flop around in there. They're going to destroy it, just kind of distort what he's thinking. So score there for the Magikarp. I mean, obviously.
So how does Kool-Aid Man handle that? The Magikarp coming into his pitcher.
I don't know, but I don't know. I mean, guess that's how they get on Unicron. But see, he's rising from the ocean because BB-8 has called to him to help his friend, right? So Kool-Aid Man goes because BB-8's currently on Unicron. So Kool-Aid Man goes towards BB-8, and in doing so, busts a hole through Unicron's hand as it's coming down on
the
earth. There's a way between the two. Yeah. So he busts through that. So
Unicron, you're right. He can't move his hand out of the way because he's not very agile.
So he's like, "Oh yeah!" And then like his hand like explodes pretty much because Kool-Aid Man comes.
Are there still Magikarp inside of his pool of Kool-Aid?
Yeah, there's still Magikarp inside there.
So what is he doing about the Magikarp problem? I guess is what
I don't know. But now the Magikarp are hella angry.
All right. So Steve Rogers and Frank Castle, they see this Kool-Aid Man with the full Magikarp ascending into the sky and through the atmosphere, and they're like, and Frank Castle was like, I don't know how we're gonna get up there. And Steve Rogers like, I know a guy. And so through plenty of the other Avengers, let's just say, for the sake of accelerating the story, they find a rocket, whether it's Stark Industries or Danny Rand Industries or whatever. They get a rocket and they or some sort of spacecraft, and they're flying up too. I just want to get them up in this where the fray.
Hold on a second though. I think
so there's a race between Kool-Aid Man.
You're bringing in. Well, I guess that's Steve Rogers' resources because you're bringing in other people.
Yeah.
I guess Steve Rogers would be able to do that.
It's just part of the narrative. They're not actually part of the fight. Kind of like Poe Dameron's is part of the narrative.
Yeah. I should have caught you on that.
So now there's a race between Kool-Aid Man busting into space to help BB-8, and then Steve Rogers and the Punisher riding a rocket. Now, are they riding it like Dr. Strangelove style, or they're like, like cowboys on a horse? Like.
Yes, but
obviously these two, they can't get into the atmosphere. They're powerful soldiers, but they're human.
Yeah. No, he said they
can be up there in space because he's a planet.
They're in spacesuits.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that solves everything. Fine then. Steven, you're the winner. Whatever.
So they're in their space suits and they're riding this rocket, and I'm going to say it's a spacecraft because a rocket you don't have a whole lot of control over. And there's something out there in the Marvel universe.
So hold on, let me interject here. So right now in this battle, on Earth, the only scene left is still this big, huge Kool-Aid Man. He's not quite ascended from, and then the Magikarp are inside, swimming around inside his pitcher.
Yeah, no, but he's like on his way to. He's already busted through Unicron's hand.
Yeah,
right. But Unicron's hand is still on its way to Earth. So my thing is Kool-Aid Man trying to help the Earth right now? Like,
no, he's trying to reach BB-8 because he's called for some Kool-Aid.
Oh yeah, good call. Sorry about that. Okay.
So as the rocket passes the hand, they see the hole there, and they haven't figured out what caused the hole, but like, hey, this thing can be damaged, so they start firing some sort of ballistic at the hand as well, maybe putting a couple holes in it as well, slowing it down.
They're slowing it down, but it's not succeeding. The hand with the giant hole, and it's still headed towards the Earth. But luckily, BB-8 sees this, and BB-8's a very caring droid. He cares about this planet that he's never seen before. So he immediately finds because in the Star Wars universe, there's always like a power source or like a ejection or like a plug-in port, so BB-8 can do whatever.
Yeah, but Unicron's the size of a planet, dude. How's he gonna find it, man? It's gonna take him forever to find it.
It's just conveniently located where BB-8 happens to be.
Conveniently, right?
Yeah, because that's always how it goes in Star Wars anyway. So So he
Unicron
can
has
be
120,000 kilometers diameter, and he just
He's like a Death
conveniently
Star.
finds it.
yeah, but the Death Star is the size of the moon, and even R2D2 is like, oh look, here's a thing I can plug myself into, like just out of nowhere.
And, all right, well, fine.
It's always how it goes.
He's
So
doing
he
his little
finds
sticky thing and trying to destroy
yes.
Unicron's
So
bidding or whatever.
he can't destroy Unicron, but he is able to override Unicron's hand for just a moment to stop it from hitting the Earth.
Okay, the hand. He got the hand out of it, but Unicron, with his ability, especially with droids and robots and stuff, he can send his hate to them, right? So through his wiring or whatever, couldn't he just push all this hate onto BB-8? Hate onto BB-8. It rhymes and everything. So wouldn't he be able to push that hate onto BB-8, and BB-8 would then start joining Unicron's quest and destroying the Earth with the Magikarp?
You do have a point. Initially, I'm like, well, they're not part of the same operating system. If that were the case, then BB-8 wouldn't be able to hack into them anyway. So you have a good point.
I mean, how are you going to stop that? I mean,
BB-8's in some trouble.
The Magikarp inside Kool-Aid Man flopping his Kool-Aid out as they're jumping around, Kool-Aid splashing everywhere. And then you got, Unicron saying, "You are now doing my bidding," putting his hate upon this poor innocent droid. So I think right now my two characters are kind of in the lead, but let's see what you guys got.
So for the sake of the narrative, Unicron's pushing out his hatred as evil or whatever, and even though
his hand's almost there,
he's targeting BB-8. I'm gonna say that wave
and Magikarp.
Yes, that wave of hatred is actually sprung onto the Punisher. Steve Rogers is so virtuous it wouldn't affect him, but the Punisher, being the line walker that he is, it hit him, and he's like, "Steve, I never understood why you always have to protect the Earth. He just starts going like he gets kind of angry the way the Punisher does.
That's actually an interesting idea because in the Punisher Max comic series, which is the best, at one point I think there's a issue where it's like the end of the world, and he basically ends like there's a few remaining survivors in a bunker after a nuclear war, and he goes to the bunker specifically to kill them so that there are no more people alive. So yes, obviously his hate grows deep.
That is growing in him right now. And Steve is like, "Frank, remember what you signed up for when you enlisted to serve our country."
At that point, Punisher probably slaps him in the face. Shut up, you.
So they're having a little bit of a dialogue there, and they're I'll be honest right now that they're a little distracted, even though they're up in space trying to get this Unicron thing. They're a little distracted by this wave of hatred, and they're not focused as much as they ought to be.
See, that's too bad for your team, because right now those Magikarp are very focused on getting that Kool-Aid out. They're working together. They're jumping and splashing all around you. But I don't know how. I don't know if they have any little magic spacesuits. So as the Kool-Aid's coming out of the Earth, I don't know if the Magikarp.
Well, the Magikarp don't really need oxygen like we do because we're fish. So maybe the Kool-Aid, because it's combined with the ocean, it allows, and since Kool-Aid Man is so magical, the liquid within is able to sustain itself in the sense that it still functions in space. So they're able to breathe in the water.
I'm not sure how that works, but we'll go with it.
And pseudoscience is cool. So
back to Rogers and Punisher.
So he's still headed towards BB-8, and since Frank Castle and Steve Rogers are arguing, they aren't really paying attention, and their spaceship crosses the path in front of Kool-Aid Man. And Kool-Aid Man don't care. He's just trying to get his Kool-Aid off. So Kool-Aid Man busts. So he busts through the walls of the spaceship. So now we have a problem because the Punisher and Captain America, they have a big hole in their spaceship, and there's a bunch of these evil Magikarp, flopping around. So now they have to contend with Kool-Aid Man and Magikarp. So there's like a little battle.
Plus on top of this, Punisher's not even sure if his heart's in this mission anymore. He might be on Unicron's side now that we're thinking about it.
So at this point now they're like trying to fight off the Magikarp that are inside the Kool-Aid Man.
So that's a good point. That was enough of a distraction from the argument. Like that happened, they're arguing, then Kool-Aid Man comes, and now Punisher's like, "What?" And he gets angry, just shooting his guns, crazy style, at the Kool-Aid Man. Does he put some holes in the glass? Like, how strong is Kool-Aid Man's glass?
See, I'm thinking that he does, because now Kool-Aid Man's kind of he's slowed down because he's got his Kool-Aid's leaking out. Oh no! So now he's like trying to fight. Because he just needs to get his Kool-Aid to BB-8. So now he's trying to fight the Punisher and and Captain
So
America.
now we're in some kind of very disarray because right now Unicorn's got the advantage again. Not only is Kool-Aid Man leaking everywhere, I mean, the Magikarp are starting to flop out and float into the atmosphere now, the ones that are falling out with the Kool-Aid. And then Captain America and Punisher, they're worried about not floating away themselves.
And finding Kool-Aid Man
So
and
right,
Magikarp.
kind of it's like Unicron putting his hate, again, he's coming out victorious right now. Kool-Aid has to get to BB-8 or BB-8's hatred will not be reversed and he won't be able to save the situation. So how are you going to get the Kool-Aid there now, man? Magikarp flopping it out. There's holes, Kool-Aid flying everywhere.
Steve Rogers, even though there's no gravity in space, he's flinging his shield at Magikarp and pinging them, and it's coming back to him still just because it has to. Okay.
So he's taking out Magikarp. Magikarp's punching Punisher in the face, or no, Kool-Aid Man's punching Punisher in the face for putting holes in him. So at this point, Unicron's already like snapped on the moon. We'll say just because it's something to add in there for no reason.
Now, something really important happens here, and I want to stress this: the Kool-Aid coming out of Kool-Aid Man somehow a little bit gets into Frank Castle's mouth.
Oh,
and instantly. Okay. Frank Castle's like calm and level-headed.
Yeah, because that's what Kool-Aid does.
So he's like, Captain Steve, stop. We don't need to fight these people. We don't need to fight that person. We don't need to fight this thing.
I had a pet goldfish when I was a kid. Don't attack him.
Our real target is him, and he points to Unicron, and then
some kind of epic music right there at that point.
Yeah. And then Steve Rogers, he's still kind of frantic. Kevin, can I take some creative liberties and say that Kool-Aid Man gives Steve Rogers a cup of Kool-Aid right now?
Well, I mean, all he has to do is say that he wants Kool-Aid.
I need some of that beverage.
So the Punisher's like, no, because the Punisher's tasted of the Kool-Aid and realizes how that's kind of restored him. He's like, man, I need more Kool-Aid, and then Kool-Aid Man's like, oh yeah. He hands him a glass. So now Kool-Aid Man's calmed down.
He has to dip his arm inside his pitcher because right now his main issue is getting the BB-8, but it's like a side mission. Dips it in there, gives a cup to those two because there's cups everywhere too.
And then so the Punisher then takes a glass, passes it to Steve Rogers, and then Punisher's like, I have an idea. It might not work, but let's try it. And for some reason, he has a super soaker because he has every kind of gun imaginable. He takes a super soaker out and he fills it with Kool-Aid.
And he shoot the Magikarp.
And then so both him and Steve Rogers now have these super soakers with Kool-Aid, and they're shooting at the Magikarp. The Magikarp are calming down too, and then they're like, I wonder if this will work on Unicron.
But what's the thing is the Magikarp aren't all calmed down. They hit one, and Magikarp drinks of the Kool-Aid. I don't know why he didn't do this before while he was in the Kool-Aid, but
he's in a state of frenzy.
It's enough to cause him to go into an evolution.
Definitely.
So now we have a Gyarados to deal with.
That's true. The elixir of Kool-Aid has a different effect on Magikarp.
Yeah, the Kool-Aid's made such a big waterfall effect, especially with the bullet flying everywhere. And the Magikarp have gotten to the top of that, and you know what happens then.
So now there's Gyarados.
Man, this is crazy.
Suddenly, Gyarados distracts Unicron enough. He's like, "Oh, sweet, my minions are mine." Why did he choose Magikarp?
Because there's so many of them.
He's like, "Oh, my minions are even stronger." It distracts him enough to stop thinking about BB-8, who unplugs from Unicron. So now he's back to being good.
Okay, but that doesn't solve the Unicron problem yet.
No, it doesn't. But but he was able to get some schematics from Unicron.
Ooh.
So now BB-8 knows what his weakness is, which of course is the Matrix of Leadership. I'm not quite sure how we're going to fit that in, but we'll figure that out a little bit later.
Okay. But BB-8 doesn't have any way of communicating with the Kool-Aid Man other than like the fact that Kool-Aid Man's going towards him. So Kool-Aid Man's going towards BB-8, and Steve Rogers like, I just got this feeling we need to follow him. So my two guys are now following Kool-Aid Man towards BB-8, and I think
they're trying to take out a bunch of Gyaradoses on the way.
Yes, and that's the way he's pinging him with his shield. Punisher shooting him with normal guns, not super soakers. Maybe he's got Nerf guns now. I don't know.
I don't know if you could take Gyarados out with a gun now. So the Magikarp goes in front of Koolaid Man, he just busts through that or not the magic, or Gyarados busts through that Gyarados because he's on his mission. He's on his mission now.
Yeah.
So now there's like Gyarados guts everywhere.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
So
whole
Unicron
team.
is starting to see that he's lost control of BB-8. The Kool-Aid Man still hasn't quite gotten the Kool-Aid to him yet, though. So BB-8 is still not really, he's still kind of in a daze or whatnot, right? So, but Unicron's there. His hand's busted up. He's got two hands, though. He destroyed the moon with one, if I remember correctly. Whole thing's been going crazy. I'm not sure if we destroyed the moon. We destroyed the moon, right?
Yeah, I think
we destroyed the moon.
Okay. All right. So his other hand's coming down. He's still trying to project his hate onto the Marvel characters, not realizing that one's drinking the Kool-Aid and one just can't be hateful to begin with. So he's working really hard at that. He realized he's having a little bit of trouble. So now he's just going full force to try to get his hand to the earth. He's putting his hand down. He's like, many Magikarp that are still on the earth, he's got under control, trying to take out, and he's getting pretty close because there's so many other things happening with this Kool-Aid. So how are we going to stop this?
Well, meanwhile, BB-8 knows his weakness. BB-8 goes back to his X-Wing.
Unicron's like, I can't, these fools, I'm above them.
So BB-8 rolls back into his X-Wing, pops into the little socket, and then he takes control of the ship because they can do that. And he starts like firing torpedoes and stuff at Unicron just to distract him. At this point, the Kool-Aid Man reaches BB-8.
Yes, and then my two guys are with him too.
Yeah. So now BB-8 has the Kool-Aid, and Poe Dameron drinks of it. So now he's awake, and he's like, "Oh snap!" And BB-8 tells him, basically gives him an idea what's going on. He's like, "Hey man, there's a giant robot, all stuff like that. We need this Autobot matrix of leadership. Why don't you go down and get it?" So Poe Dameron's like, "All right, cool." So he takes off his X-Wing towards Earth to try to find the matrix of leadership. The question is, does he make it in time?
So we have the situation now is we have Captain America, the Punisher, and Kool-Aid Man. They've just reached BB-8, and BB-8 sent the X-Wing, Poe Dameron, and the X-Wing on a mission to Earth to get the Autobot Matrix, correct?
And
That's kind
the
of
Magikarp that are in the Kool-Aid Man. The Magikarp and the Kool-Aid Man are still, a few of them are still there, right?
Yeah.
So BB-8 is in the X-Wing, headed back to Earth with Poe Dameron. I mean, he really doesn't even need Poe Dameron. He can fly it himself. So he's on his way back to get through Autobot Matrix leadership. He's got to find that. So now that Kool-Aid Man's achieved his mission of getting Kool-Aid to BB-8,
yes,
he's just kind of chilling on Unicron. And Steve Rogers and Frank Castle are also there because they were following him.
So technically, Kool-Aid Man not only helped out BB-8, but in a roundabout way, he's also helped out Steve and Punisher and also some of the Magikarp.
Yeah.
So,
so right now, basically, it's up to the Punisher and Captain America to keep Unicron busy until BB-8 comes back with the Autobot Matrix, and Kool-Aid Man can help too if he wants
and
to.
And Unicron's moving all over the Earth, though.
Ooh, this is perfect. All right. Frank Castle says, my kids used to play this game where I'd have to chase them around the house. So I have an idea. Hey, Kool-Aid Man, I want Kool-Aid. And Captain America's and Captain America's like, I want Kool-Aid. And then they run all over Unicron, trying to get him to bust through walls.
But the problem is, because this Kool-Aid Man has, he gets confused. He's trying to go in two different directions at once. And what they accidentally do is cause Kool-Aid Man to split in half, and then he just basically destroys himself accidentally.
Oh man!
So Kool-Aid, he already has holes in his glass to begin with.
So Kool-Aid Man's out of the fight. He did his part, but he's gone now.
Well, can we at least say that
in the meantime, Kool-Aid is splashed everywhere, and that's also another thing Unicron has to deal with, is all this liquid going into circuits and stuff. So another hindrance to him. So even Kool-Aid Man continues to serve even in his death.
And because of that and his distraction, so now Unicron's distracted. Steve Rogers, Frank Castle are running around, shooting him, throwing their shield, just trying to do what they can to take him out.
Yeah, and before Kool-Aid Man exploded, can we at least say he busted through a couple walls of Unicron?
Oh yeah, obviously.
Okay, cool, sweet. So he's like pincushioned him a little bit to put some holes in him,
and smoke's starting to come out of Unicron's body, like on the movie right now.
Yeah. So while this is going on, BB-8 has finally reached Earth, and he's located the Autobot Matrix somehow, and so he convinces Optimus Prime to give it to him. And so Optimus Prime hands it gives to BB-8, and he gets put in an X-Wing. So now the X-Wing transforms into an Autobot.
Yes.
Controlled
by BB-8.
I like that.
So now Autobot X-Wing BB-8 hybrid. I don't know what's going on with Poe this time. By this point, they
He-
go
he-
back to Unicron.
He's just on Earth still. He's like, all right, cool. He's just chilling.
Wow,
He's like-
look at all these cool fish flopping around.
He's like, what's going on with all these fish?
Yeah, actually, he sees it in an abnormal amount of the Magikarp flopping around, and he's kind of puzzled by it.
Meanwhile, Unicron's hand is still coming right down on Wakanda. Wakanda's right in his grasp, so we got to hurry up here because Unicron's about to take out all the vibranium supply on Earth.
So Autobot X-wing / BB-8 reach Unicron, and then BB-8 opens the Matrix.
You got the touch, dude.
Yeah, some
You've got
80s
the
pop
power.
music goes on. You've got the power. And Unicron explodes. Unfortunately, wait, are Steve Rogers and Frank Castle still on Unicron? Because wouldn't that mean that they would be taken out now?
Yeah, they lost their ride too, unless they get on this X-wing.
So now they're gone. Everybody's gone except for Magikarp
On Earth.
on Earth.
And so Unicron's been defeated, and
Punisher's been defeated. Kool-Aid Man's been defeated. BB-8's been defeated because he was on Unicron when it exploded. When he exploded as well.
and Captain America's been defeated. But Poe
Captain
Dameron
America?
Yeah.
has been defeated. So, but Poe Dameron, he doesn't know all those guys very well, but he's like, they sacrificed themselves to save this little planet. Things are looking up, and then we pan to a different scene, and you see waves, like gigantic waves. Little did these guys know that when Unicron struck out the moon, the tides were really affected, and now Magikarp are absolutely everywhere. And then we see a little thing that says 50 years later, and in the rubble of the Lincoln Memorial, we now see a statue
of
Magikarp.
Instead of Lincoln, Magikarp on the
Magikarp,
chair.
use splash.
And the whole world. So the whole world has now been taken over by Magikarp, and he comes and says the winner. And now he enslaves humans and puts forces in the fight, just like they did to the Pokemon.
Yes, humans are put into Pokeballs.
Human Pokeballs.
That's awesome.
And unfortunately, due to no fault of his own, Poe Dameron is the first one that gets encapsulated in a human ball.
Yes.
He wasn't even in this battle to begin with, and now he's at the will and bidding of the Magikarp.
And I just pictured that, like, Poe, I choose you. He goes out.
Poe's like, it would be like a Magikarp language. She'll be like, Magikarp. And then he comes out. Poe's like, what's going on?
Falls out of their mouth. So all in all, this series that we've done, Unlikely Throwdowns, who would have thought back in the beginning when we chose our characters that the grand champion of them all would be Magikarp?
Yes, and I think it's fitting. He's like you said, people underestimate him. He's the weakest of all the Pokemon.
It
whatever.
took him years and years and years, but he now owns the world.
He persisted.
But wait a second, though. I just thought, is Unicron's head now the Earth's moon?
Yes, it has to be.
Yeah, it has
So
to be,
wouldn't this
obviously.
happen in the end where eventually Unicron can reprogram himself and create himself again, and the Earth would have to worry about it again? But I guess if he's allies with Magikarp, okay, never mind.
He's in cahoots with him.
Now I'm going to be up thinking about all this stuff, man. But next time you look to the sky, maybe the moon will be Unicron's head.
Or he forms himself so he transforms into a giant Magikarp.
Oh, dude, that's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Poor Kool-Aid Man went down like a boss.
I think
Tragic, really.
for some reason, because Kool-Aid Man died in outer space, can there be a constellation that's the Kool-Aid Man smile? Can we make that a thing?
His glass from his
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah, and Steve and Punisher, they thought they saved the Earth, but all they did was give it to Magikarp.
So that's a good example of how everyone thought Magikarp was this good little fish, this good little Pokemon, but he ended up being a sinister villain in the end.
Well, I mean, you can't blame him. People made fun of him made fun of Magikarp forever. Now he's just getting it back.
Seriously.
But you bring up a good point of like, sort of this sort of, polarization, where if we go from good to evil or whatever like that. So what I'm thinking for our next episode is sort of explore that a little bit. And I had this idea, and I think I've talked about with you guys before about I want to do an episode on villains that are actually the good guy.
Yeah, that's a cool idea. I think it'd be good.
I'm down with that.
So how about we each pick a villain? Or actually, let's leave it up to our listeners. If you have a villain in mind, let us know, and we can use that villain. And if you think there's a villain that's actually a good guy, one of us we can talk about those ones.
I can think of a few right now. There's quite a bit.
I can think of everything from Disney movies to Marvel to all sorts of stuff. So
that'd be cool. I think it's a good topic. Well, so that's what we'll explore next time, either for at least one episode, maybe two, depending on how many we get from our listeners or from our own minds. But I think that'll be a good topic. All right. So
this has been a good time for sure.
It's been a good series. I've been pretty happy.
I would like to revisit this series in the future. So,
yes, I agree.
Continue to think of people that could be involved with unlikely throwdowns.
Yeah. So any of our listeners, along with villains that are actually good guys, because we'll probably readdress these sort of unlikely throwdowns again at a later time. We don't know when. It'll be a little ways away. But if you have any ideas of characters that you think would be fun to watch fight each other, put those in send those to us as well, and maybe we'll use them in a future episode.
Yeah, that'd be super. Right. All right, gang.
Till next time.
Till next time. How about that Magikarp, eh? So conniving. Anyway, thanks for listening to that older episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and I really hope it's getting you pumped for this next showdown. It's going to be coming soon. I'm working real hard on it, and I'm trying to add some cool effects to it. So stay tuned. If you want to check us out on Facebook, we're there, facebook.com/brothersbornpodcast. And please, it's the holiday season. Give us a gift by sharing our show with one of your friends. That'd be great. We'll probably be rounding out Season 2 with this next Ultimate Showdown episode, and we're getting prepared for Season 3 in 2022. So stay tuned, keep listening, and we'll catch you real soon.
The matchup still makes me giggle. I don't